Hello guys and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to get and install the Tronic software. So first thing we got to do is we're going to open Google or whatever browser you want to use and find the T8Suite. Now you have a few options. You can either go straight to the main website or go straight to downloads. It's up to you. Now I'm going to go straight to download since that's basically what I want to do right now. Now, you have a few options in here again. You can do the T7, which is for the 9.5 or the older 9.3. The T8, which is for the newer 9.3. As well as, some of the T5 and BDM tool. Those I won't be touching upon since I haven't used them at all, so I won't really do much. But I reckon it's probably the same install instructions as for the rest. Now we're also going to touch on the TrionicCANFlasher, which is what you're going to be using for flashing and reading your ECU from the Trionic 7, 8, and for the newer Motronic, which is used in the newer 9.5s as well as the newer 9.3 with the 2.8 liter. So yeah, I already downloaded them, so I don't need to do it right now. Good. So we'll start from the bottom. We have to install the CANFlasher, which is straightforward. Just next, you have to choose if it's for everyone, it is you. Change the location if you want to. I like to keep it stock. And yeah, install. It's gonna ask us for permission to install in just a bit, and then it'll be finished in no time. Yeah, as you see. And if you have any problems installing any of these, you will need to go and look for the net framework. It needs the net framework to work. So yeah. Okay, same for the T8Suite. Everyone, same place, next, waiting. And yeah. Now, while I install this, I can talk a bit about what cables you can use. There is there is a few. The most known, I think, is the Combi adapter, as well as the OBD-Link SX, which is the one I'm using. So, the settings I'll be showing you in another video is for the OBD-Link SX. And I'll show you how you can set up the settings for it within the device manager, as well as showing you how to use it with the Trionic 8 for logging, Trionic 7 for logging, as well as the TrionicCANFlasher. Now, you might not need to download the extras, but I prefer to do it, so, well, yeah, we have all the software available for us to meddle around with. And as you see, it takes quite a while to install all of this. Here. Next. Everyone. Next. So you see, it's all the basic same installation process, and there's no real trickiness to it. And yeah, finished. Now that we have it finished, we can open the T7Suite. And this is what you're gonna meet when you open it. Since it doesn't have any binaries loaded, you won't see anything here. You'll be a bit confused at first. There's a few functions here that are more or less important for doing a good tuning. Like, one of the most important tools are your air mass result viewer, which can show you basically what kind of torque you're probably going to get with the maps you have. But I won't get into that. There's a lot of posts on the forum for that, so that'll be for for reading. Now, with tuning, you have, again, the same stuff, my maps. And this is for connecting to the ECU, so you can log it in real time while you go for a drive. And yeah, so if we want to connect to, let's say, an ECU while you're on the road, you need to go into settings, and you have a few options in here. These are just the basic ones. You can choose what kind of resolution you want for the map and all this. Now, if you want to connect to your car and go for a drive, you will need to select the adapter that you have chosen to buy. In my case, it's the OBD-Link SX. So it's just basically fitting it here, saying OK. Then when you're in the car, put your key to on, go to connect ECU. It'll write something in the bottom about connecting to the ECU, and once it's connected, it'll show you some of the data. If it don't show anything, you can click on this toggle real-time panel, Shift F1. Now, that's it for the T7Suite, for now, at least. For the T8, it's basically the same. You won't have anything when you start up. You have the file, you can open, save, import, all this different stuff. And again, you have a few options here. You have the LMS result viewer, which is one of the most important pieces for knowing if your tune is going to be kind of okay. And then we have a few different stuff to work with here. Lots of, we actually have a tuning wizard, so there might be something in there for you if you're totally new to it. You have a few options there. It won't show anything right now since I don't have a base file loaded. Now and again, for talking to the ECU, you'll have to go into settings in file. Again, same exact setup. It's built on the same software, so you'll check the OBD-Link SX. That'll be it. Now, of course, you have to plug in your cable to make it work correctly. Now, I just plugged mine in. I'm going to shut it down, open it again, and go to File, Settings. You can see my adapter is COM-free, so it's ready to be used. You can go into configuration, and you can set the power rate. For the OBD-Link SX, 2 megabit is the right settings. So, okay. And that's basically it for the T8Suite. Of course, there's a lot of different things you can do in here. Like when I talked earlier about the T7, you need to connect the ECU as well. Go into the bottom, see when it's connected, and then you can toggle the real-time panel. And that's it. Now, for the TrionicCANFlasher. You see, my device is plugged in right now, and it's ready to flash or read whatever I want to. I can even edit parameters, which is checking off if it's a high output car or low output. You can even change what the maximum speed is. There's a few options. Now, you see, I can click all these buttons, and that's because my cable is already in the computer. Now I pulled it out. Let's see again. We have no buttons to click except settings. Now, just for demonstration's sake, I'll plug it back in, open, go to settings, and these are the settings you should be using for the OBD-Link SX. Enable logging, only PBus connection, use Legion bootloader, as well as 2 megabit, as we talked about earlier. And then you will have maybe the same COM, maybe another, depends on what kind of devices have been plugged into your computer before. You have again a few options here, but since I'm using the OBD-Link SX, these are my settings. For reading the ECU, it's pretty explanatory. You can click it, it'll tell you what to do. It'll tell you to put it into on position, and then save the file somewhere. And then when you save it, it starts loading in. Your cow is gonna, at least the 9.3, it's gonna go into traction control problems, but don't worry, it's very normal. Then at some point it'll say starting bootloader, and then you can click your key from on to off, not on to lock, but on to off, and just let it continue reading. These things you can do, it's basically the same thing with flashing the ECU. You have to put it to on, flash it, go back to off when you see the starting bootloader, and yeah, that's it. You can change down here for the Tronic 7. If you're going to flash Tronic 7, I trust you already know what you're doing, since either you have to make a effort to pull a CAN plus and minus to your OBD plug and use that if you're going to use it in the car, or else you have it out on the bench, and I'm sure you got everything figured out then. So yeah, that's it. If you're in doubt of anything about the TrionicCANFlasher, you have the view documentation down here. It will show you, it will tell you basically everything you need to know, much more in detail than I talked about right now. And yeah, I'm sure if you read through it, you won't be in any doubt about what to do. Good. So that's basically it. Now, since the video is already pretty long, I might as well go into the settings of my OBD Link SX. So the settings I use for flashing and reading is, let's see, down in Start, into Device Manager. Now it's gonna pop up under ports, COM and LPT. You have the USB serial port, and just in my case it's COM3. Now we'll go to Properties, Port Settings, and bits per second. We're gonna take the fastest one, since yeah, that's the most stable one. 8 data bits, none, 1, none, and then in Advanced. Now, if you follow the guide on the T8Suite, which I will show you now, where you can find on the guides, TrionicCANFlasher, there's a step-by-step guide to do all of this as well. It'll tell you whatever you need to know, basically. But some of us use the settings you see here. They say set it to 2 milliseconds. Some of us use 1. It's basically gonna say how fast you're gonna read or write. So you make sure the COM number, you can take whatever you want. Just some of mine are already in use, so mine is using 3 by default. And this is the settings you want to go with. 4096, as well as 4096. Then latency 1 and readout 0, 0. You won't touch any of this. It should be already set up, so the only thing you need to change is the BM option. Say OK, check again, everything's fine, OK, and now you're basically ready to read or write, whatever you want. So yeah, that's basically all you need to know right now. And of course, the first time you get into the car, you should not be flashing it. You need to make a backup. So the first thing to do when you get a car and you want to start messing around with it, read the ECU so you save your keys. In case anything goes wrong, you can restore another ECU with your keys, so you don't need to use a Tech2 to program it to your car and marry it and all that. So yeah, that's basically it. And thank you for listening. I hope you have a good adventure with tuning your Saab.